The San Diego Botanic Garden, formerly known as Quail Botanic Gardens, held its Gala in the Garden, celebrating environment and stewardship, on September 11, 2010. The annual fundraiser drew about 400 guests to visit and experience the garden at sunset, as it transformed into a wonderland of colors, lights, flora, and live music. They strolled and indulged in culinary specialties of the area's finest eateries. Silent and live auctions also were part of the event that was enjoyed tremendously by all who had the good fortune to attend. It was as well an earth-friendly zero-waste event, as you will hear from Julian Duvall, the executive director, with all food waste composted and serviceware recycled later. Then it was time for Paul Ecke III to present the prestigious Paul Ecke Jr. Award for Excellence, created in 2002 and named for his late father, to Jody Holt for her life's work as a distinguished scientist and educator. Professor Holt chairs the Department of Botany and Plant Science at the University of California, Riverside, but you may be more intrigued by her role as botanical consultant for James Cameron's blockbuster film Avatar. This is Dan Wiseman for Aha Rancho Santa Fe News, AHHARSFNEWS.com. Enjoy.
Don't you know, Gingy, I've been around searching for you like a real.
And how are you enjoying the event?
Fantastic.
Do you come every year? Is this your first year?
No, this is our 4th year.
How does it compare to the past years?
Haven't figured that out yet. It's too early.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people look at this garden and look up to us, and I think we feel this way about it ourselves, the many staff, volunteers, all of our trustees certainly, that we should be models of sustainability. And something that you didn't get to see here tonight, and hopefully you did not miss, there were no garbage cans here tonight, folks. No garbage cans. We've hosted over 400 people here tonight to have a wonderful party, and we expect to maybe have, at most, 1 5-gallon bucket of refuse that will have to go to landfill. Everything else is going to be recycled.
But the Paul Ecke Jr. Award of Excellence was established by the Gardens in 2002 in memory of our late father, Paul Ecke Jr. It recognizes exceptional achievement by an individual or group in one of the following categories. One or more, actually. Education about plants and their roles in the environment. Conservation of native plants and wildlife for other rare and endangered species. Creation or preservation of public places for enjoying the beauty of the natural world, and preservation or recreation of historically significant plantings or structures. This year's honoree was selected for her education to educating others about not just the plants and nature around us, but our relationship to them and the responsibility we have to sustain a healthy environment. Dr. Jody Holt is a professor of plant physiology and the immediate past chair of the Department of Botany and Plant Scientists at the University of California, Riverside. As you all know by now, Dr. Holt shaped Sigourney Weaver's character as a botanist in Avatar and helped establish the authenticity of the plants in the film. At UC Riverside, her lab conducts research in the ecology of weedy and invasive plants in order to contribute ecologically sound weed management practices. I know that all you guys know that that's really important in our business. So this tribute is well deserved, and I'd like to invite Jody to the stage. So thank you for all you do for education and promoting stewardship of the environment around us. So, congratulations.
And I've been at UCR 28 years, having a career in research and teaching, and until recently in administration. But the thing that brings me the greatest thrill in my job is standing in front of a class every year, a new group of students, biology majors. Usually most of them want to be doctors or pharmacists, and they're taking the class because they think that they need the credit or they'll raise their GPA because plants are easy and kind of boring and it shouldn't be too bad. And then 10 weeks later they walk out thinking plants are not only fantastic but very cool. And to me that's just the best part of my job. And this garden does that on a day-to-day basis. I'm sure there are a lot of people that get dragged here or come here not sure what they're going to find, and they leave very passionate about plants. So that's one reason why I'm just so honored to get this particular award. About Avatar, I was fortunate to have this opportunity. I'd like to say that in 28 years of teaching, I have not touched nearly the number of people that this movie did in regards to just bringing their appreciation up for plants. But I think they were fortunate to find me because, as I said, I've spent a lot of time teaching very smart, talented people who started out not knowing a lot about plants and not knowing what they didn't know and thinking plants were pretty easy. Now, I didn't design the plants for the movie, but to me, I did something even more fun. I explained them after the fact. After artists and designers came up with the plants, I gave them Latin names and helped give them some credibility by explaining why they looked the way they did. So think about it. You've been here tonight, you walk up to a plant, or somebody hands you a plant that's very bizarre and fantastic. How in the world do you figure out what it is and what it does and why it looks like it does and why it grows where it does? Well, what I do at my work is use the scientific method. We pose hypotheses, we test those, we do research to figure it out. You might come to this garden and ask somebody, what is that plant? I mean, you've got to really sort of figure out what it is you're confronted with. I do that in my day job, and that's what Sigourney Weaver as Grace did in Avatar on Pandora. And one of the roles I played was to help her act like a credible botanist and figure out what she was doing and what she was seeing there. There were other projects I was involved in that I'm not going to talk about, but we'll be back in October on Halloween to talk a little bit more about that. But I think Avatar had a tremendous impact the same way this garden does and the same way I try to do in my teaching, just raising awareness among people everywhere about the importance of plants. And finally, this garden is very special, and Julian, and I had the opportunity to meet Julian. I want to thank him so much for nominating me for this award. And we have a lot in common. First of all, just a passion for botanic gardens. As chair of my department, I learned on behalf of our own botanic garden that it's tremendously challenging to maintain, and not only that, but grow a garden in difficult budget times. And this garden has changed over the last 10 or 15 years in a way that I just cannot even imagine it could have happened. That's because of the talented staff and dedication and Julian and others, but also the many volunteers and donors that I've met tonight. And I want to thank so many of you for being so gracious to me tonight.